Hello there. Today I'm going to take you through some advanced Excel to PowerPoint linking, something which you may not have seen before, may not be aware of, or just you may pick up some tools and some tips along the way for using PowerPoint, Excel, and more especially using the Empower and the Empower charts. So this training is more focused on the Empower Lite users. If you have an Empower full subscription, there's even more than you can do. But I'm going to concentrate on what you can get straight out of the box of Empower Lite. Today I'm going to show you how to link PowerPoint to Excel via images rather than individual elements. I'm going to go and just take you through some of the slides and do a little bit of an overview of what there is right out of the box. So you can see here, if I make these tiles a little bit smaller, I have all kinds of different formats that I could have a look for. And I'm going to just browse through them and see if there's anything a little bit more interesting than what I have in there. So I've got infographics. I can make this a bit larger if I want to see them in. It's a little bit more interesting. Let's do that. We'll put in this dashboard. These charts here, which are already in Empower Lite, they're Empower charts. So you will notice that because they have these gray bars on the top. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm not going to use Empower charts. The reason being is I'm going to link my data in Excel, and Empower charts don't work that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some work with the layout tools, and I'm just going to Control A and show you all that's in this page. And you can see there's some extra boxes here which are unhelpful because if I reset, you'll see that this placeholder has jumped in the right place. But if I then go ahead and use the stretch tool, it doesn't really do a very good job. It's not really stretching to my my guides very well. The reason why that is, if you can see before, if I do Control A again, you can see there's these extra boxes. Let's get rid of them. So I'm going to go ahead, get rid of them. There's a few more. See, where's that last one? There we go. Okay, right, that's a little bit better. Now if I use my stretch tool, how's that going with the placement? It's a bit better. You can see that my text now fits my page a bit better. Another thing I've just noticed with these is the text boxes are all a little bit weird. I'm just going to click on here and I'm going to take off the auto fit. And I'm just going to resize them. You see in these ones I've gone a bit funny. That's probably because there's a bit of extra space. You can get rid of that stuff if you want to get rid of it. Do that just to make it nice and clear. Okay, that's great. Right, so I'm going to get rid of these Empower charts. I want just the standard chart because I'm going to link through its pictures. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm more comfortable working in Excel, or maybe you are more comfortable working in Excel. And the charts I want to use are actually really quite basic. Insert a standard chart. So we go to charts, and I'm just going to do a clustered column. That's fine, that will do. Now in the Empower full package, this is much easier because in the Empower full package, especially for Empower, Empower full, what we have is we have a whole suite of native charts, so you don't have to do what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to have to take this heading off because we don't need that, and I can get rid of the confines. That'll do. Okay, that looks okay to me. I'll use my positioning tool, put it on the left hand side. That's good. Just change my fonts, and let's bring it to 10, and bring my font to the theme color. There we go. Okay, that looks okay to me. You might just make an adjustment. I'm just going to put that 3 times. Put that one over the cross. And go over 3. Distribute them. Align them. Okay, and I might just change my chart design. Change chart type. And I'll make the line. And then I'll make this one. I'll try and make it. That'll do. Fine. The slide exactly how I want it now. There's a little bit of preparation work you want to do in Excel. I copy that, and then I'm going to navigate across to Excel. Here's one way I can do it. So within PowerPoint, because I've sized all my content to the slide that I want it to be, the actual size, I can then come into PowerPoint and I can just sit within a cell and then do Control V so I can paste. Now, here's a bit of a tip. When I do that, you have to make sure that the master themes match between Excel and PowerPoint. So how do you do that? What am I talking about here? So this is the language, the design language that Microsoft uses in Office between Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and to a lesser degree Outlook. So if I go into my design here and I go to my themes and I use this down arrow and I go save current theme, let's call this test, and that's the name of the theme. I'm just going to copy this bit because I'm going to need it in a second, because when I go to Excel it's going to ask me to find this. So I'm going to call this, let's call it test 2. There we go. Now if I jump across to here and I go to page layout, go to themes, I have to browse for my theme. Oh no, there it is, test 2. That's one I just saved just then. But if I browse my theme, let's just make sure that's the right one. Now I can paste that up there. There's test 2. Okay, great. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that paste again because it didn't really look exactly the same, but my format's now exactly the same. So if I do my sizing again, copy, and then paste. There we go. Right, let's just make sure we're using the right fonts. So I'm going to use Segoe. There we go. Okay, great. So one thing I noticed when these things, when you're going between PowerPoint and Excel, is PowerPoint charts always bring across their outline. So they have always come across with a thin gray outline. So you can either just turn it off or set it to white. I'm going to set the outline of the shape to be off, off, and off. And in fact, actually, I might just put the fill to be nothing as well. Let's click on that. Fill. Same with that. Same with that. Okay, so right now you're probably thinking, well, why is he doing this? This is a bit random. Okay, this is why. I now want to link this data source to some other data I've previously created. So if I go to here and then I go select data source, I can then go and tell exactly where I want my data to run from. So let's say let's have that data. There we go. That's good. Actually, yeah, that's fine. Okay. Same with this one. I want to now link this data. Select the data. Series 1. Okay. There we go. That's better. Let's reformat that. Don't want it to be on that. We'll just put it on that. It looks better. Good. Okay, that's fine. Over here, this is text box. So you can change this to any text you want. This is any text I want. And over here, let's put some random text. Okay, and then we'll leave that there. Okay, cool. Right, and we could make all these things all change. So now we have charts which are linked to Excel. And they're all ready to go. Right, so I'm going to go back into Excel and I'm going to show you how to link the data. Right, so this one here, let's say I just want to keep the title for this. So I'm not going to link the text, I'm just going to paste that special. Now I'll go back into Excel. I've missed a very, very important step. So this is the important step. You can only copy a certain range. So instead of doing what I'm doing, what I actually want to do is go from cell B2 to, let's say, okay. I'll show what happens when I miss this one out. So you can see I've highlighted this size. I can now link this to a new PowerPoint object or create it to an existing PowerPoint. So I'm going to just do a new object, and it's an image. And I'm going to go over here, and it's going to ask me to say, how big do I want this image to be? Now, what I could do is I could go up to here, and I can put a layout in, and then say I want it to be this size, and then go boom. It's going to then link it, size it to a placeholder. There we go. Now you can see I've made a bit of a problem here, a bit of a boo-boo, because when I've done that linkage, I sort of cut off that size there. So what I could do is I can go here and I could edit it, and I could say, let's just change that size a little bit. And in this case, let's make it fit just a little bit wider. Hit OK. Hit OK. That will update our image. And there we are. Now you can see in PowerPoint, it will fit. Okay, right. Now you can see it's slightly different in terms, it's slightly off in terms of the formatting. So you might want to do some different changes, however you want. But the quality that comes through is very, very good. And you can make your changes within Excel. So now, of course, I can drive my data using, let's change these percentages in. So let's put the 90 and let's put that to 5. There we go. And now if I go to this picture, I just do hit refresh, and you'll see any change that I've made in Excel will then refresh to PowerPoint. And instead of having to do that in multiple objects, what's really nice about that is if you go into the InPower Link Manager, you'll see that there's just one link. So in this way, if you're having a file which has got lots and lots of links, there you can vastly reduce the number of linkages between Excel and PowerPoint. All right. Hopefully you're with me. I'm now going to go and show you something a little bit more advanced and a different way to do it, which is a way I would do it. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do the same thing, roughly, but using this format. Okay, so I'm going to do what we did before. I'm going to insert a new page, and this time I'm going to put a layout in. So this is the layout. You can see if I put a color around it, this box represents the layout that I want all of my content to fit within. And I come up here and I just have a little quick scan of the sizing. I'm just going to note down those sizes. It's 30.8 centimeters wide by 12 centimeters high. Okay. So I'm going to go into Excel, and in this case, maybe let's just duplicate this. Yeah. And this one, I'm going to get rid of all this content because it's not what I want. Okay. Right. So what I'm going to do here is slightly different. So I'm going to go to this cell, and I'm going to copy this box. So right click, copy, jump into Excel, sit in cell B2, and I'm going to, actually not, I'm going to do over here. I'm going to do it in M. The reason I'm not going to do that is because this is the data here that I'm going to link up, right? So, right, I've pasted that box in, but now I'm going to make the cell M2 to be exactly the size of what I've got here. Right? You only get really one shot of this. There you go, it's close enough. So the width is fine, and now I need to, the height is fine. Now I make the width of, yeah, there it is. That's good. There's my box. So I can now get rid of that box I have, and I'm going to get rid of those additional rows so I can have my data nice and close. Delete. Right, there we go. So what I've essentially done here is I've mirrored the size of the content placeholder in PowerPoint with Excel. So these are the same size. Right. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to take off that box because eventually I'm going to paste into it. I'm going to come into this chart. So what I did is I've done, and I've formatted how I want it to look in PowerPoint. I've done all the formatting in PowerPoint. I've used my layouts and adjusted things. You can see this one's a little bit wrong, so I can make it some adjustments, etc., etc. I can just check it all looks good. Yep, that's all fine. Right, now I'm going to copy all of this and go into Excel, and I'm going to sit in cell M2 and I'm going to paste. When I now copy it across, and I'll do it just quickly just to show you, link it to an existing PowerPoint object. It'll say, well, which object? Let's just change our layout and go to PowerPoint, and then go link it to a new PowerPoint object. It's an image. Okay, well, let's do that layout now. And we get a boom on the layout. There we go. Great. And so you can see some of the stuff has come through a little bit weird, so we might have to do a little bit of adjustments. That will be because of how the PowerPoint originally was set up. It might be set up in a bit of a strange way. So you might want to do some adjustments in that, but let's just actually look and see if that's how it looks. Okay, it's coming across because in Excel, that's how it looks. So we can just make some changes here, some formatting changes. That all looks good. Great. Okay, that's not the power of what I'm talking about. What I really want to do is I want to show you. Okay, now imagine I'm much happier working within Excel. Let's have a look at some of these lines that I go through. They've gone off a little bit skewy. How are they set up? Okay, they're set up with. And what about the vertical lines? Okay, right. So we can just adjust the vertical lines. We can do that in Excel. And then that's fine. What's that? Okay, so there's some lines. So let's see if we can ungroup them. Let's see how they come in. Yep, I ungroup them. That's the lines. Okay, great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use some alignment tools. Let's use my select. I want to grab that one. Yep, perfect. And I'll just use my arrow keys to bring it across. Actually, 1, 2. No, that's exactly where it should be. So that is where I want it. I want that one to be there, and then I want to grab these other ones. Let's do that, and let's do that, let's do that, and I will then use my alignment tools and my distributes to make them a little bit better. Okay, you'll play around with it because that adjusts a little bit off as well. So let's do it. Just be nice and thorough. Okay, right. Now, here's what we really want to do. What I want to do is I want to link this data down here with each one of these text boxes. So this can be a little bit time consuming. Where you get real value for this is where you have, say, a presentation where you're doing analysis for multiple different companies, for instance, but they're different companies. So it's the same analysis, different companies. A good example is, say you're doing some, modeling or forecasting. And you're doing a presentation and you're doing it on 20 different companies. So the formats are all going to be the same, but the numbers are going to change. So what you really want to do is you spend your time making one of your slides perfect in PowerPoint, like I just did before over here. So format them in PowerPoint because the formatting tools are much easier. And then you put it into Excel because, of course, you want to link things and get your data going nicely between Excel and PowerPoint. Okay, right. So I'm going to change some of these numbers just because they seem a bit ridiculous. Negative. Okay, whatever. That's fine. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how to link these text boxes to cells. Right. It's really, really easy. It's a little bit repetitive. So you just hit equals and then go to there and then hit return. And you notice the format will go. That's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do each one of these. And then I'm going to quickly I do them all bar one because I want the formats. The formats are actually really important because the formats are how we want it to look in Excel, sorry, in PowerPoint. So here I go. I'm going to probably do a bit of editing here so you don't have to watch me do all this, but I think you get the point. So you have to be careful to make sure you've got the right linkage. The trick is you leave one at the end. Equals minus 65. Equals minus 89. Right, there we go. Right, so this one here is the format that we want to keep. So I now need to go into my home and go to my format painter and double click it. So that means I can apply the formats multiple times. So now those are all back, they're linked. Oops, and the formatting is correct. So I'm going to have to change this one and then use the formatter to fix that one. So there we go, there's 80, boom, okay. Let's format that. Great. Okay, so now the reason why we've changed that is now when your numbers change, they are all formatted perfectly. So you can drive the data from your Excel to your image. What I also need to do is if I select objects, can you see there's a little white box on most of these? Just to make sure that there's no fill. I don't want any fill coming through, so let's have it as no, I want no fill. No fill. You see that there. Now these are just text boxes without any kind of fill. Right. And now I'm going to go ahead and do all the rest. Just imagine that I've changed all my data. My data now is driving the image that I've got here in the top of my page. Now I'm going to show you how to put it into a PowerPoint. Here is the file that I want to work with. You see this one's a little bit off. So if I could, let's see what happens if I refresh it. Yeah, there we go. So because I've already pasted it through and everything's working nicely, these are still linked, right? I just have to do a little bit of formatting changes because you can see the formatting is just a little bit off, but that's okay. It's really easy. We're going to go in here. We're going to bring this to the front. So if you right click, let's bring it to the front. That's good. And let's maybe make it go there and let's put that there. That's probably enough of a change to how we want it. Let's have a look. Yep, it's pretty good. All right, let's go back. Refresh it again. There we go. You make any kind of formatting changes you want, but now I have a linked dashboard between Excel and PowerPoint. If I was to go and link each one of these text boxes into Excel, the amount of packaging is prohibitive. It's kind of a bit ridiculous. You can go and link every single one of these numbers as individual text boxes, right? But why would you do that when you could just do all of the work and link it in one go? So if you have any change that you need to do, you can just go and make your change in Excel until you're happy with it. So let's make it 12, and then you go across here and then just push refresh. Easy. Excellent. Well, there we go. I hope you've learned something today. I've whipped through it really quickly. So of course you can slow this recording down to 0.8 within the recording on Loom or speed, just to slow it down. But these are the kind of tips and tricks and skills you can have and you can use between Excel and PowerPoint when you use the power of Empower. And this only gets better when you use the full version, because when you have the full version, you can actually flesh out all of these areas into your corporate branding. So you can see at the moment what I've done is I'm using the standard Empower branding here. But it takes quite a bit of effort to format things. And if you're doing something where you're working as a team, like one person who's good at PowerPoint can do all that formatting for you, and then they can distribute it around the rest of the team. And then all you have to do is then put it into Excel, link it all up, and then link them between PowerPoint and Excel, and you've saved yourself hours and hours and hours of work. And the last thing to show you is, like I mentioned, if you then have, let's say, I don't know, a number of pages linking through, if you go to your Excel link manager now, instead of having hundreds and hundreds of links, you just have one image which represents an entire slide going back to an Excel sheet. Well, there we have it. I hope you've learned something today. I hope that will be of interest to you. You may find that will be a huge time saver for you. Just to let you know, what I'm showing you here, very few of these things here are available natively. The thing that really makes it powerful is that linkage, the Empower link, the data manager, the Excel link manager. It really does save a lot of time, and it's actually not really possible easily to do so many links between the Excel and PowerPoint. Okay, well, thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed.